You know what nobody tells you about trying to change your life? That you've been doing it backwards this entire time. Every vision board you've created, every affirmation you've repeated while secretly feeling hollow inside. Every moment you've closed your eyes to visualize your dream reality while your body screamed in resistance, while your nervous system clenched with the familiar grip of unworthiness. You were told it was about the images, the repetition, the positive thinking. But here's the truth that shattered everything I thought I knew about consciousness and reality creation. You cannot think your way into a new life while feeling your way into your old one. Let me say that again, because this is where 97% of people lose the game before they even know they're playing it. You cannot think your way into a new life while feeling your way into your old one. And this isn't some spiritual platitude I'm offering you. This is quantum mechanics. This is neuroscience. This is the observable, measurable architecture of how consciousness interfaces with the field of infinite possibility that physicists have been documenting for over a century, and that most of us have been utterly misunderstanding. I want to take you on a journey today, not the journey you expected, not another tutorial on how to manifest your soulmate or your dream car or financial abundance. Those are symptoms, surface-level rearrangements of a deeper structure. What I'm going to share with you is the foundational operating system beneath all of that, the actual mechanism by which consciousness becomes matter, by which the invisible architecture of your inner world blueprints the visible architecture of your outer experience. This is about emotional blueprinting with visualization and gratitude, but not the way you've been taught, not the watered-down, commercialized version that's been sold to you as a quick fix. This is about understanding yourself as a quantum system, a living, breathing, feeling probability wave that is constantly collapsing infinite potential into singular experience through the coherence or incoherence of your internal state. Let me start with a question that might unsettle you. What if everything you've been taught about manifestation, visualization, and positive thinking has been keeping you trapped in the exact reality you're trying to escape? What if the very effort to attract something better has been broadcasting the loudest possible signal that you are fundamentally separate from it, that it exists out there, beyond you, requiring pursuit, manipulation, and endless striving? What if I told you that the quantum field doesn't respond to your wishes, your hopes, or your perfectly crafted affirmations, but instead mirrors back the electromagnetic signature of your embodied emotional state? Stay with me here, because this is where it gets fascinating. The Quantum Foundation: Why You Are Not Separate from Reality. In 1935, physicist Erwin Schrödinger described something that would revolutionize our understanding of reality. He discovered that particles exist in a state of superposition, simultaneously holding all possible states until the moment they are observed. The act of observation, of consciousness engaging with the quantum field, collapses that infinite potential into one singular, measurable outcome. This is not mysticism. This is physics. The observer doesn't just witness reality. The observer participates in the creation of reality. But here's where it gets even more profound, and this is what most manifestation teachings completely miss. It's not your conscious thoughts doing the observing. It's not your intellectual awareness or your rational mind that interfaces with the quantum field. It's your emotional state. It's the electromagnetic field generated by your heart. It's the frequency signature of your entire nervous system. The HeartMath Institute has measured this. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends up to 3 meters beyond your body. This field is 5,000 times more powerful than the electromagnetic field generated by your brain. And this field is constantly interacting with the quantum field around you, sending and receiving information, entraining with other fields, broadcasting your internal state into the invisible architecture that shapes your experience. When you understand this, when you really grasp it, you realize something profound. You are not trying to attract a reality from outside yourself. You are continuously broadcasting a reality from inside yourself. The question is not, how do I get what I want? The question is, what electromagnetic signature am I embodying right now? And what reality is that signature inevitably going to collapse from the field of infinite possibility? This is why emotional blueprinting isn't just important. It's everything. Because whatever emotional state you are predominantly embodying, whatever feeling tone is most familiar to your nervous system, whatever frequency you are most habitually tuned to, that is the template from which your reality will construct itself. Not because the universe is mystically granting your wishes, but because consciousness and matter are not separate things. They are different densities of the same thing. And the bridge between them is emotion, embodied, felt, electromagnetic emotion. Why everything you've tried has failed, the coherence problem. So let's talk about why your vision boards haven't worked, why you can visualize for hours and see no change, why you can repeat affirmations until you're hoarse and still wake up in the same life, with the same limitations, with the same patterns playing out on repeat. It's not because you didn't try hard enough. It's not because you lack discipline or commitment or spiritual worthiness. It's because of something called psychophysiological incoherence. Let me paint you a picture. You sit down to do your manifestation practice. You close your eyes. You visualize yourself in your dream home, in your thriving relationship, in your abundant bank account, in your healthy, vital body. You see it clearly. You affirm it with words. You might even feel a little flutter of excitement. But underneath that excitement, underneath the carefully constructed mental image and the words you're saying to yourself, there's another frequency running, a deeper frequency, the frequency of doubt, of unworthiness, of the story you've been telling yourself for 20, 30, 40 years about who you are and what you're capable of. The frequency of the trauma your nervous system is still holding. The frequency of the limiting beliefs that were installed in you before you had language to question them. And here's what happens at the quantum level. Your conscious mind sends out one signal. I am abundant. I am worthy. I'm living my dream life. But your subconscious, which controls 95% of your cognitive activity, sends out a contradictory signal. This isn't safe. This isn't who we are. We don't deserve this. Remember what happened last time we tried? Remember what they said about us? Remember the evidence that proves we're not enough? These two signals create what's called interference patterns. Like two waves in water moving in opposite directions, they cancel each other out. They create static, chaos, incoherence. And the quantum field, which is exquisitely sensitive to the signals it receives, doesn't know which instruction to follow. So it gives you more of what you've always had, because that's the clearest, strongest, most consistent signal your system has been broadcasting. This is why people can do manifestation practices for years and see minimal change. They're creating beautiful mental movies while their emotional body is screaming a completely different script. The quantum field doesn't respond to imagination. It responds to embodiment. It doesn't respond to what you think. It responds to what you feel so deeply that it becomes who you are. Think about it this way. If you're trying to tune into a radio station broadcasting at 101.5 FM, but your receiver is stuck on 98.3. It doesn't matter how badly you want to hear that station. It doesn't matter how clearly you can imagine what it sounds like. You won't receive the signal until you physically adjust your tuning mechanism to match the frequency you're trying to access. Your emotional state is your tuning mechanism. Your nervous system is the receiver. And the quantum field is broadcasting infinite stations simultaneously, infinite possible realities, infinite timelines, infinite versions of your life, all available right now. But you can only tune into the frequency you're actually embodying, not the frequency you wish you were embodying, not the frequency you're pretending to embody for 20 minutes during your morning meditation. The frequency you're actually living in, breathing in, feeling in, operating from, moment by moment, day after day. This is the brutal, beautiful truth that changes everything once you really understand it. The subconscious architecture, why your past keeps creating your future. Let me take you deeper into why this coherence problem exists in the first place. Your subconscious mind is essentially a recording device. From the moment you were conceived until approximately age 7, you were in a predominantly theta brainwave state, the same state you entered during hypnosis. In this state, you weren't capable of critical thinking or filtering. You were downloading programs directly into your operating system. You downloaded your parents' beliefs about money, about relationships, about what's possible for someone like you. You downloaded the cultural narratives about success, worthiness, love, safety. You absorbed the emotional atmosphere of your environment like a sponge, and all of that became the foundational code that your subconscious would use to run your life. Here's the kicker. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between past, present, and future. It only knows patterns. And its primary job is to keep you safe by repeating the patterns that allowed you to survive. Even if those patterns are now limiting you, even if they're keeping you small, stuck, and suffering. Your subconscious doesn't care about your happiness, it cares about your survival. And to your subconscious, survival means maintaining the familiar. So when you try to create change, when you visualize a new reality, when you step toward a new possibility, your subconscious perceives this as danger, because different equals unknown, and unknown equals potential threat. This is why you self-sabotage, why you procrastinate, why you find yourself repeating the same relationship patterns, the same financial struggles, the same health challenges, even when you consciously want something different. Your subconscious is running a protection program, and it's hijacking your ability to stay coherent with your desires. Now, here's where gratitude enters the equation in a way that most people completely misunderstand. Gratitude is not about pretending to be thankful for things you don't have. It's not about forcing yourself to feel positive when you're actually drowning in struggle. Real gratitude, the kind that creates quantum shifts, is about training your nervous system to recognize and resonate with the frequency of already having. When you feel genuine gratitude, your body produces a specific cascade of neurochemicals. Your heart rhythm becomes coherent. Your electromagnetic field becomes organized and powerful. You enter a state where your brain can't tell the difference between visualizing something and actually experiencing it. This is the key. When you combine clear visualization with the embodied emotional state of gratitude, not future gratitude for what you hope will come, but present moment gratitude for the reality you're choosing to identify with right now, you create a coherent signal that the quantum field can respond to. You're not asking for something you don't have. You're aligning with the version of reality where you already have it. You're tuning your receiver to that frequency and sustaining the signal long enough for your external reality to rearrange itself to match. But this only works if the gratitude is real, if it's embodied, if your nervous system actually feels safe enough to let go of the old pattern and embrace the new frequency. And this is where most people get stuck. The nervous system, your bridge between consciousness and matter. Your nervous system is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between consciousness and matter, between the quantum field and your lived experience. And for most people, that bridge is broken. If you're stuck in a chronic state of fight, flight, or freeze, if your nervous system is constantly scanning for danger, constantly braced for impact, constantly running stress hormones through your body, you cannot access the frequencies of creation, expansion, and possibility. It's physiologically impossible. When you're in sympathetic nervous system activation, in survival mode, your body shunts blood away from your prefrontal cortex and into your limbs so you can fight or run. Your perceptual field narrows. You become hypervigilant to threat. You lose access to creativity, to intuition, to the subtle information that would guide you toward your highest possibilities. You cannot create from survival mode. You can only react, defend, and repeat the past. This is why breathwork matters, why meditation matters, why somatic practices matter, why nervous system regulation is not some luxury add-on to your manifestation practice. It's the foundation. You have to teach your body that it's safe to let go of the old patterns, safe to feel differently, safe to embody the frequency of your desired reality. And this happens through repetition, through practice, through literally rewiring your autonomic nervous system to find safety in expansion instead of contraction. Think of it like this. Your nervous system is like a violin string. If the string is too tight, it will snap. If it's too loose, it won't produce any sound. But when it's tuned to exactly the right tension, it can create beautiful music. Your practices, your breath work, your meditation, your somatic awareness, your emotional processing, are all about finding that optimal tension, that coherent state where your system is regulated enough to feel safe, but activated enough to create. This is the state where miracles happen, where synchronicities multiply, where the quantum field responds with breathtaking speed and precision. Not because you're special, not because you've unlocked some secret, but because you've finally aligned all parts of yourself to broadcast a clear, coherent signal. Emotional blueprinting, the practice of becoming. So, how do you actually do this? How do you create this coherence? How do you shift from being someone who wants a different life to being someone who embodies a different frequency? This is where emotional blueprinting with visualization and gratitude becomes a practice, not a wish, not a hope, but a systematic rewiring of your internal architecture. Let me walk you through this step by step. Step 1. Get radically honest about your current state. Before you can shift your frequency, you have to acknowledge what frequency you're currently broadcasting. And this requires unflinching self-awareness. What emotions are most familiar to you? Not the ones you wish you felt, not the ones you think you should feel, the ones that are actually running in the background of your nervous system most of the time. Is it anxiety, unworthiness, resignation, frustration, loneliness, anger? Write it down. Feel it. Acknowledge it without judgment. This isn't about shame. This is about data collection. You can't shift a frequency you're not willing to admit you're broadcasting. Step 2. Identify the desired state, not the outcome, the state. Here's where most people make a critical mistake. They focus on the what, the car, the house, the relationship, the money. But the quantum field doesn't respond to things. It responds to states of being. So instead of focusing on what you want, focus on who you would be if you already had it. What would you feel? How would you move through your day? What would be different about your energy, your confidence, your sense of self? If you had the thriving business, you wouldn't feel anxious about money. You'd feel secure, creative, generous, expansive. If you had the loving relationship, you wouldn't feel lonely. You'd feel cherished, seen, connected, at peace. These feelings, these states, are your target frequency, not the external circumstances, the internal state that those circumstances would naturally generate. Step 3. Create the visualization with sensory detail. Now you're ready to visualize, but not the surface-level, paint-by-numbers visualization you've been doing. You're going to construct a detailed, sensory-rich, first-person experience of your desired reality. Close your eyes. Take several deep breaths to shift into a coherent heart rhythm. Then begin to build the scene. Where are you? What do you see? What are the colors, the textures, the quality of light? What do you hear? What sounds fill this environment? What do you smell? What physical sensations are you experiencing in your body? What are you touching? What temperature is the air on your skin? Make it so real that your brain can't distinguish it from actual memory. And here's the crucial part. Experience it from the inside. Not as a movie you're watching, but as a reality you're inhabiting. Look through those eyes. Feel those feelings. Occupy that body, that life, that version of yourself. Spend time here. 5 minutes minimum. The longer you can sustain this coherent state, the stronger the signal you're broadcasting. Step 4. Layer in the emotional state of gratitude. This is where the magic happens. While you're still in the visualization, while you can still see, feel, hear, and sense this reality, allow yourself to feel overwhelming gratitude for it. Not gratitude that it might happen someday. Gratitude that it's happening right now, that you're experiencing it right now, that you already have it, you already are it. Let this gratitude fill your chest, your throat, your belly. Let it spill out as tears if it wants to. Let your body shake with the intensity of it if that's what comes. This embodied gratitude is the key that unlocks the quantum field's response. Because when you feel genuine gratitude for something, your body produces the same neurochemical signature as if you're actually experiencing it. Your electromagnetic field broadcasts the frequency of already having, and the quantum field, which can only give you more of what you already are, begins to rearrange circumstances to match that signal. Step 5. Carry the frequency into your day. Here's where 90% of people lose the signal. They have a beautiful meditation in the morning, feel amazing for 20 minutes, and then spend the next 23 hours and 40 minutes operating from their old frequency. And they wonder why nothing changes. You have to become a frequency guardian. Throughout your day, notice when you slip back into the old emotional patterns. And when you do, without judgment, without shame, gently redirect yourself back to the frequency of your desired state. Ask yourself, how would the version of me who already has this reality respond to this situation? How would they feel? How would they speak? How would they make this decision? And then do that. Be that, even if it feels unfamiliar, even if it feels like you're pretending. You're not pretending. You're rehearsing. You're training your nervous system to find safety in this new frequency. You're building evidence for your subconscious that this version of you is real, valid, and sustainable. Step 6. Notice and celebrate the evidence. The quantum field is always responding, always. But most people miss the evidence because they're looking for the full manifestation to appear instantly. Instead, train yourself to notice the small shifts, the synchronicities, the unexpected conversations, the opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere, the internal shifts in how you feel, how you think, how you respond to challenges. These are the quantum field's way of showing you that your signal has been received and that reality is beginning to reorganize itself around your new frequency. Celebrate these moments. Feel gratitude for them. Let them build your belief, your trust, your coherence. Because every time you acknowledge the evidence, you strengthen the signal. You tell the quantum field, yes, more of this. This is the frequency I'm committed to embodying. The practice of continuous becoming. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. The goal is not to manifest your desire and then be done with this work. The goal is to fall in love with the practice of consciously creating your reality, to become so fascinated by your own power to shift frequencies, to collapse possibilities, to dance with the quantum field, that the practice itself becomes the reward. Because here's what I've discovered after years of studying consciousness and working with thousands of people on this path. The moment you fully embody the frequency you've been reaching for, your desires naturally upgrade. You begin to want different things, or more accurately, you begin to want from a different place. When you're operating from scarcity, you want things to fill the void, to prove your worth, to finally make you feel okay. When you're operating from coherence, you want things as extensions of the creative joy that's already flowing through you, as expressions of the abundance you already are. This is the difference between manifesting and creating. Manifesting is trying to get something from outside yourself to change how you feel inside. Creating is letting what you feel inside overflow into external form. One is exhausting, the other is exhilarating. One keeps you trapped in the old paradigm of separation. The other initiates you into the quantum truth of unity. And this shift, this fundamental reorientation of how you relate to desire, reality, and your own creative power, this is the real transformation. Not the house, not the money, not the relationship. The recognition that you are not a separate self trying to manipulate an external reality. You are consciousness itself, exploring the infinite creative possibilities available within the quantum field, using emotion as the interface, using your nervous system as the receiver, using your life as the canvas. The quantum field is listening. Your reality is responding. So let me ask you something. What frequency are you broadcasting right now, in this moment? Not the one you wish you were broadcasting, not the one you're going to broadcast tomorrow after you've done your morning practice, right now. What is the predominant emotional state running through your system? Is it fear? Is it excitement? Is it doubt? Is it hope? Is it resignation? Is it curiosity? Whatever it is, know this. The quantum field is receiving that signal, and it's preparing to give you more experiences that match that frequency, not as punishment, not as reward, simply as response. Because the quantum field is not moral, it's not judging you, it's not withholding your good because you're not worthy enough or spiritual enough or positive enough. It's simply mirroring back the frequency you're embodying. This is simultaneously the most empowering and most sobering truth you'll ever encounter. Empowering because it means you are never stuck. You always have access to a different frequency. You always have the capacity to shift your internal state and thereby shift what the quantum field reflects back to you. Sobering because it means you can't bypass the work. You can't think your way out of an emotional pattern you've been embodying for decades. You can't visualize away trauma that's still living in your nervous system. You have to actually do the work of becoming coherent. But here's the beautiful part. The work itself is the transformation. Every time you catch yourself slipping into old patterns and gently redirect yourself to the new frequency, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you practice embodying gratitude for the reality you're choosing to align with, you're reorganizing your electromagnetic field. Every time you make a choice from the identity of who you're becoming rather than the identity of who you've been, you're collapsing a new probability from the quantum field. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. The more evidence you accumulate, the more your subconscious begins to trust that this new frequency is safe, sustainable, and who you really are. Until one day, you realize you're not trying to become someone different anymore. You're not reaching for a future version of yourself. You've become them. You are them. The frequency you were working so hard to embody has become your natural state. The reality you were visualizing has become your lived experience. The coherence you were cultivating has become your operating system. And from this place, you don't need to manifest anymore. You simply create. You simply allow. You simply let the quantum field arrange itself around the clarity of your coherent signal. This is the quantum shift, not a one-time event, but a continuous practice of choosing, embodying, and becoming. An invitation to conscious creation. So I want to invite you into something, not just to watch this and nod along and then go back to your regular programming, but to actually engage with this, to experiment, to discover for yourself whether what I'm saying is true. Take one area of your life where you've been stuck, where you've been trying to create change but keep hitting the same walls. And for the next 30 days, commit to the practice I've outlined. Every morning, spend 10 to 15 minutes in coherent visualization with embodied gratitude. Build the sensory experience of your desired reality. Feel the emotional state of already having it. Let gratitude fill your system until it's undeniable. Then, throughout your day, practice frequency guardianship. Notice when you slip into old patterns, and instead of judging yourself, simply ask, how would the version of me who already has this reality respond right now? And do that. Be that. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it feels fake. Because it's not fake. It's rehearsal. It's your nervous system learning a new song. It's your quantum signal becoming clearer, stronger, more coherent. And at the end of each day, write down 3 pieces of evidence that reality is shifting. 3 synchronicities. 3 moments where you felt different, responded differently, or noticed something aligned appearing in your experience. Don't skip this step. Your brain needs evidence to override decades of programming. Give it that evidence. Celebrate it. Let it build your trust. And then, I want you to come back here and share one word in the comments. One word that represents the frequency you're choosing to embody, the state you're committing to becoming. Not the thing you want, the feeling you're cultivating. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's abundance, maybe it's freedom, maybe it's worthiness, maybe it's joy. Whatever your word is, share it. Because when you declare your intention publicly, you strengthen the signal. You invite support. You become part of a community of conscious creators who are all practicing the same quantum dance. And if this resonates with you, if something in your system is saying, yes, this is what I've been searching for, then subscribe to this channel, because I'm committed to exploring these principles deeper, to sharing more practices, to creating a space where we can all support each other in this beautiful, challenging, transformative work of conscious reality creation. The continuous practice of quantum living. Here's what I want you to understand as we close. This isn't a quick fix. This isn't a weekend workshop where you learn the secret and then suddenly everything changes. This is a practice, a discipline, a way of life. But it's also the most rewarding, most fascinating, most enlivening practice you'll ever commit to. Because you're not just changing your circumstances, you're changing your relationship with reality itself. You're moving from victimhood to creatorship, from separation to unity, from manipulation to alignment. You're discovering that you are not a small, separate self trying to survive in a hostile universe. You are consciousness itself, playing in a field of infinite possibility, using emotion as your creative medium, using your life as your masterpiece. And every single day, you get to choose which frequency you embody, which probability you collapse, which version of yourself you become. The quantum field is always listening. Your nervous system is always broadcasting. Your reality is always responding. The only question is, what signal are you sending? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. In this moment, you have the power to shift your frequency, to drop into coherence, to embody the state of already having, already being, already living the reality you desire. And when you do that, when you really commit to it, not as a one-time experiment, but as a continuous practice, reality has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. Not because you're special, because this is how consciousness works. This is how the quantum field operates. This is the fundamental architecture of reality creation. You are so much more powerful than you've been taught, so much more creative, so much more capable. And the life you're dreaming of? It's not somewhere out there in the future waiting for you to finally be good enough to receive it. It already exists in the quantum field as a probability, as a frequency, as a possibility. All you have to do is tune your system to match it, to embody it, to become it, and then watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the inner becomes outer, as consciousness becomes matter. This is your birthright. This is your power. This is your invitation. The quantum field is waiting for your signal. What will you broadcast today? Share your word below. Commit to your frequency. Join this community of conscious creators. And remember, you are not alone in this practice. We are all learning together, growing together, collapsing new probabilities together. The quantum shift is not something that happens to you. It's something you become. Welcome to the practice of continuous conscious creation. Welcome home to your power.